Welcome to Eagle's Nest Outdoors. I'm JB, and today I'm going to talk a bit about machetes. Now I can already hear some of you saying, JB, why do I need a machete? And well, maybe you don't. As always, I'm not here to tell you what you do and don't need, but I will tell you why I got my hands on a few of these tools and let you decide for yourself if this is something that might be useful for you too. Now, I live in a region with a lot of woods, and in those woods there's plenty of undergrowth and brambles and stuff. A lot of these plants have thin green shoots or thin green wood that an axe is just going to be too blunt to handle. And a knife, even a big honking one, is going to be a bit too short to get the job done. So, obviously, a tool like this is useful for clearing trails, but in the same vein, it's also useful for clearing fire lines from your hide or your stand, or even getting rid of some pesky branches and in a way of casting your line. You could use it to clear a little more space for a campsite, or you could use it to trim some branches to conceal that campsite, or maybe conceal a vehicle. This is not a piece of gear that I carry with me regularly, and it certainly doesn't replace a good knife or even an axe or a saw, but I would take it if I thought I'd be doing any of the tasks that I mentioned. Those are the kinds of things that these are designed for, and they really do fit those tasks better than some other tools. So, I got my hands on these three different tools just to see how well they do the job. To be clear, I do also want to get my hands on a standard Latin machete made by Tramontina. This is what you think of when you think of a machete 9 times out of 10. It's the classic machete. It's made by a company that's been making them for a long time. They know what they're doing, and hundreds of Amazon reviewers will agree with that. I might revisit this video when I get my hands on one of those, just so I can compare it to these ones for you. But for now, let me tell you what I've got here, and then tell you what I did with them. Let's start with the ColdSteel Magnum Kukri machete, not to be confused with their normal Kukri machete. This one is 22 inches overall with a 17-inch blade, weighs about 20 ounces. It's got a good weight to it. For those of you who like to know where the balance point is on your blade, it's right about there. They say that this is a 1055 carbon steel with a baked-on anti-rust finish. Handle is polypropylene, has a hole for a lanyard, which is useful for a tool like this. It comes with a decent nylon sheath. It snaps around the blade to accommodate the funny shape. Nothing fancy here though. Out of the box, I have to say I wasn't too impressed with the finish. In fact, you can see a spot here where it kind of dripped a little and pooled. Also, while it did pass the paper cut test, where you take a piece of paper and go, it kind of did so just barely and required a little bit of sawing to get through there. So, in short, I'd say out of the box, this one could probably benefit from a little work sharpening it up. Next, let's take a look at the Schrade Bolo machete. This is a little shorter, a little over 20 inches. It's got a 14-inch blade. This thing weighs 27 ounces. This thing's a beast. Just look how thick this steel is. They say this one's titanium coated 3CR13 stainless. Handle's rubber, and the balance point is much closer to your hand, right about there. It comes with a paracord lanyard that's threaded through the metal grommet here. Also comes with a nice nylon sheath. It includes a ferro rod and a sharpening stone inside this removable exterior pocket. You just pop that off with some Velcro there. It also has a removable shoulder strap in addition to the belt loop, so you've got a couple different ways you can carry this. Out of the box, this one passed the paper cut test with ease. The last tool we're going to look at isn't quite a machete, but it probably fits in this category best. The Woodsman Pal Classic by Pro Tools is 17 inches overall, has a cutting edge at 8 inches and has a sickle blade on the reverse side. The blade's a high carbon steel with an anti-rust finish. Handle is ash, and it comes with this really long nylon lanyard. Now, I found this to be a bit too long. It kept falling over my hand when I was using it, but that's easy enough to fix by just changing where it's knotted up here. The whole thing weighs in at about 24 ounces, and the balance point is right around there. Comes with a basic nylon sheath. It velcros shut here for you with a snap at the top. And out of the box, this one also passed our paper cut test. Alright, that's nice, I hear you saying, but how did each of these actually perform? You're not just going to read specs to us, are you, GB? Of course not. So, a couple months back, I had a big old patch of burdock out in the back. It's all about, I'm talking plants that were 3 to 4 feet high. They had nice central woody cores about 1.5 to 2 inches thick, some of these. I decided I was tired of the dogs bringing in the burrs, so it all had to go. And this was a great chance to try out all these different machetes. So I dug them out of our packs and I went to work. Let's go back to the ColdSteel. This one handled material that was under 1 inch thick, okay, if you could hit it just about right, which is in the sweet spot of the blade right about here. Most of the plants needed more than one chop with this thing to get through them, and at the end of the day, even after the light use I put through it, I think I rolled the edge of the blade just a little bit through here, and maybe notched it in a few other spots. I also found that the handle was not really very comfortable for extended use. To be perfectly honest, I was a bit disappointed with this thing. I've used other ColdSteel products and this just wasn't on par with those, and nor was it on par with the other 2 blades that I tested here. So how about the Woodsman Pal? This one had a little trouble with the thicker material that I attacked, but I think that it was due more to the length of this one and therefore the reduced leverage more than anything else. This is inches shorter than the other 2, and as a result I found myself having to really kind of get in there, sometimes getting those big old burrs stuck to me just to get the best swing. This is not helped by the fact that this last inch of the blade or so here is not sharpened. They say this is to reduce deflective injuries, but mostly meant that I wasn't getting clean through cuts, and I had to finish the job using the sickle edge. It worked fine for that, but I'd rather just get the job done with one swing. That's where the Schrade comes in. This thing went through everything like butter, even the really thick stuff. The weight and the balance felt perfect in my hand, and this grip is nice and comfortable to be using it for a long while. Of the 3, I'd say this is my hands-down favorite. It just made the job easy. And no, Schrade is not compensating me in any way to be saying that. So there you go. There's my impressions of these 3 tools. Like I said, I may revisit this when I get my hands on that Tramontina, and maybe once I sharpen up the Kukri, I'll give it another go. Hopefully I've given you some useful information. You can decide if a tool like this is right for you, and which one might do your job best. Thanks, and until next time, stay safe and have fun.